Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 2 at Old Trafford this evening as well. So potentially now Manchester City do take a step closer, to regaining their title. I think the last team, to regain the Premier League title, was actually, us back in 2009 as well. So potentially looking realistically now that City are going to win the league, of course, because obviously, they're chasing their fourth league title as well, Manchester City. But as Dick was saying, this game, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had currently made 5 changes, from that total humiliation to Everton at the weekend, when we lost by 4-0. So 5 changes were made, Darmian coming to the team. I think this was his first start under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, we saw Luke Shaw, returning from suspension as well. Pereira also was picked as well. He was a surprise solution, to be quite honest with you, was Andres Pereira, so he got picked in the game as well. Initially, Solskjaer went with a 5-3-2, so he did go with 5 at the back as well. But in terms of the level of performance, I thought there was some improvements tonight, from Manchester United, especially in the first half, to be quite honest with you. I thought we applied ourselves very, very well. I thought the determination was there, the work rate was there, the physicality was there, and I think, the effort, was there tonight, from these majority of these group of these Manchester United players, to be quite honest with you. Pogba, I thought, had a really, really poor game tonight for Manchester United, Paul Pogba, and, there has been a lot of rumours, that he's going to be leaving Manchester United this summer, because as he updated you earlier on, reports were saying that reportedly he's notified his Manchester United teammates that he wants to quit Manchester United this summer. And for me, I probably would get rid of him, to be quite honest with you, because obviously we could get around £150 million for him, and to be quite honest with you, for that price, we could get 2 players, for £150 million, to be quite honest with you. So again, Paul Pogba, very, very poor tonight, indeed. Jesse Lingard again was very, very poor tonight, indeed as well, again for Manchester United. And Jesse Lingard's supposed to know what it's all about, to be quite honest, because he's progressed up the ranks, with Manchester United and all that. He is 27 years of age. He had a fortuitous chance tonight. But Lingard, again, he should have scored that, Jesse Lingard, but it was an absolute wasteful opportunity indeed as well. Luke Shaw, you could say he was at the fault for the first goal, to be quite honest with you. De Gea again, making another mistake as well, that led to Manchester City's second goal. Well, initially I think it came off David De Gea's feet, to be quite honest with you. I thought Fred was okay tonight, he didn't do too bad, he wasn't brilliant. I thought Fred and Pereira's performances, were actually better than Paul Pogba's, to be quite honest with you, because I thought Paul Pogba, was very, very poor tonight, to be quite honest with you. But I thought there was some improvements, tonight from Manchester United, of course, as well. But for me, I just think we're lacking that cutting edge, and, we're not being ruthless enough in front of goal, we're not being clinical enough, and this is why potentially, we're not scoring enough goals, to be quite honest with you. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to rebuild in the summer, potentially. We've got to rebuild in the next couple of years, because obviously, we're nowhere near on the same levels as Manchester City, to be quite honest with you. And I think it could take us at least 2 to 3 years, to graduate to City's level or Liverpool's level, of course, as well. So it's essential that we've obviously, got to invest this summer. But I thought the first half, we pressed very, very well up the pitch, high up the pitch, very, very well. And I thought Rashford, was getting a couple of decent runs in behind, in that first half, was Marcus Rashford. So I don't think Marcus Rashford does too bad tonight, because we do know for the last 2 months or so, his performances have been way below par as Marcus Rashford. So I did see some improvements in his game tonight, Marcus Rashford, he was sustaining some attacks very, very well. And we did hit City on the counter-attack, a few times as well. But for me, we didn't create enough chances again. I thought the best chance of the first half, was Raheem Sterling's chance, to be quite honest with you. Did everything, but the finisher was very, very poor. Bernardo Silva also had a great chance for Manchester City in the first half. It was saved by De Gea. And then potentially in the second half, of course, Manchester City, of course, went 1-0 up through Bernardo Silva. I thought Bernardo Silva, had a great game for Manchester City. His goal, I think a lot of people are blaming Luke Shaw, to be quite honest with you, but it was a very, very good finish, from Bernardo Silva. David Silva had a great game for Manchester City tonight as well. I thought their midfield looked very, very good tonight, to be quite honest with you as well. Potentially, I think Fernandinho went off injured in the game as well. Leroy Sané came on and he got the second goal for Manchester City as well. And you can blame De Gea for this. This is another mistake, David De Gea's made. Sané shot, I think it came off David De Gea's feet or something like that, and it goes into into the back of the net as well. But as I did say, City have got the experience, going into in terms of the title race, City have got the experience, Liverpool haven't got the experience, to be quite honest with you. So it's looking likely now City are going to win the league. But as I did say, they're a well-established club. The philosophy is good. They've got a great manager, as I said. They've got great players. They've invested into their club really well indeed. So for me, as a Manchester United fan, I did expect that, tonight, to be quite honest with you. But in terms of the performance and that, it was an improvement, from the weekend, of course, as well. But we're in a really bad vein of form now. We've lost 7 of our last 9 games in all competitions. And as I did currently say, we can take some positives tonight. There was improvements in terms of the performance and that. The work ethic was there. The physicality, was there as well. But, we're just not ruthless enough in front of goal, to be quite honest with you. I think City, could have had another chance, Aguero hitting the post in the second half as well. So potentially it could have been more than 2-0 to Manchester City tonight as well. We also saw come on in the game, I think Martial came on, Lukaku also came on, and Sanchez came on in the game as well. So potentially, as I did currently say to you, even in my preview, and that, I do think we're at least 2 years off, being on, like City's level or Liverpool's level, and I think we're at least 3 or 4 years off, from being that competitive elite level football club as we was under Alex Ferguson as well. And we do potentially know that, obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got the job, it's all gone wrong. But reflecting back when he was interim manager, everything was going right. The results were good, the performances were good. He was getting the best out of these group of players as well. And it's just seemed to have all gone wrong since he got the job permanently. Because when he was interim manager, he was exceeding expectations. Was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. So potentially for me, our squad from back to front, is potentially not good enough, to be quite honest with you. I'd give Rashford a 6 tonight because I thought Rashford, didn't do too bad, to be quite honest with you. So I thought there was an improvement in his performance as well. But we still know that Rashford has not graduated to that level yet, to be quite honest with you. But, most recent seasons, especially, City have got a great record against us, especially at Old Trafford. Of course, they've done the double over as again. But City are a good team, we've got to be honest, as I said. Obviously, probably a lot of Manchester United fans, I were hearing a lot of Manchester United fans saying, they would have been happy with us losing tonight. So obviously, it stops Liverpool from winning the league as long as we put a performance in. And I don't think the performance, was too bad, to be quite honest with you, especially in the first half. I thought we really give it a good go. But then second half, as soon as City went 1-0 up, they started to control the game, to be quite honest with you as well. But looking likely, Manchester City are going to win the league. But as I did say, we've got to be ruthless in this summer transfer window, to be quite honest with you. We are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out as well. But, our recruitment policy is very poor indeed. But in this summer, we've got to get the right players that have got the ability to elevate Manchester United in the next 2 to 3 years. And you will probably get some Man United fans saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. For me, he needs time. Does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? He needs time to spend, to rebuild. Obviously, he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team because obviously he hasn't spent any money yet. No, it was spent in January. We didn't get as a priority targets last summer as well. So we've got to at least give him another season, see who can bring into the club. Obviously, we know the club is still looking to hire a director of footballing as well, to change the club structure and all that. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need backing in the summer as well. And we do tend to know that Solskjaer hasn't got the experience. He hasn't got a great managerial pedigree, but I still believe that he's the right man that can take Manchester United forward. We do know it's going to take at least a couple of years as well. And obviously, we've got to make a decision, of course, who's going to be the captain for next season. And in relation to Paul Pogba, I've been very disappointed, with Paul Pogba, to be quite honest with you, because Paul Pogba, for me, he is a world-class midfielder. And, when he's playing in the right vein and manner, to be fair, he's one of the best in the world, to be quite honest with you. But at this moment in time, he's just failing to replicate what he did, before under Solskjaer, because he's been one of our most influential players under Solskjaer. But now, at least for the last 7 games, he's been absolutely appalling indeed, as Paul Pogba. And as I did say, that Man United, there were talks saying that Manchester United were willing to offer him the captain's armband, to convince him to stay at the club. But I think he's intending on making a move to Real Madrid in the summer, because obviously he's told Manchester United teammates today that he wants to quit this summer. So if we can potentially get £150 million for him, obviously we paid £89 million for him back in 2016 from Juventus as well. So this is now his he's heading into his 4th season as a Manchester United player. Maybe some Manchester United fans would like to see him go, because for me, I can just tell he doesn't even want to be at Manchester United, to be quite honest, because Zinedine Zidane's a big admirer of him. He was talking about Real Madrid about 2 or 3 weeks ago as well. So I think he's intending on making the move to Real Madrid. And did say Man United are set to try and give him a new contract. He's still got over 2 years left on his current deal with an option of a further year as well. And he's a World Cup winner. Is Paul Pogba, to be quite honest with you. And we expected him tonight, to step up to the plate, especially against your Manchester rivals as well. But I thought it was poor tonight. He was too slow, losing the ball far too easily as well. People have a different preference. Maybe some people say Paul Pogba had a good game. For me, I don't think he had a good game at all. And who was he playing alongside in the midfield? Fred and Pereira. And I thought Fred was okay tonight. I don't think Fred did much wrong, to be quite honest. And I do think, to be fair to Fred, he's really stepped up to the plate, to be quite honest with you, as Fred. I've been known for criticising him, of course. I still don't know if he's a long-term solution, but I think he's proven himself, most recently as Fred. And I think at this moment in time, he is a better solution than Nemanja Matic. And Nemanja Matic, obviously, was dropped tonight, thank God as well. But yeah, Fred at this moment in time is a better solution than Nemanja Matic, of course. Andreas Pereira didn't do too much wrong tonight as well. He was a surprise solution, for my own preference. I didn't expect him, to get a start tonight, Andreas Pereira. But I don't think he did too bad, him in that midfield. I think, they put a better performance in than Paul Pogba, did Fred and Andreas Pereira as well. But as I was saying, about Paul Pogba, to be quite honest with you, obviously he's heading into his fourth season now as a United player. And I do think, Real Madrid are prepared to put a bid in of around £150 million for him this summer. Obviously, his agent, Mario, has been in a couple of negotiations, of course, with Real Madrid over the summer move. He's also been to Manchester to negotiate a summer move for him as well. So I can see him probably leaving in the summer, even though Solskjaer's spoken to Paul Pogba. Obviously, Ligue 1 Solskjaer still insists that he'll stay at Manchester United, and also Solskjaer insists he won't leave. But Solskjaer insists that, Solskjaer's convinced that he still will be at Manchester United next season as well. But in his current deal at the moment, Paul Pogba is on £300,000 a week as well. But yeah, he probably could end up going in the summer. When Herrera didn't play tonight, he must be still injured, and Herrera, I thought he'd have been available tonight, to be quite honest with you. But, you can just see the difference in that midfield, because when he's playing, he just brings that spark in that midfield as Ander Herrera. And, we know he hasn't been recently playing, due to injury, and he didn't play tonight. Unfortunately, I thought he would have been playing, Ander Herrera, but I still think he could be going in the summer, Ander Herrera, because obviously reports did say that he has agreed a deal, to join Paris Saint-Germain and all that, on a 3-year deal worth around £150,000 a week and all that as well. So he should be he should be available for the game on Sunday against Chelsea, and that's going to be another extremely difficult game. Top 4 is still a possibility, for Manchester United, of course. The positive news is obviously Arsenal losing tonight against Wolves. I think it ended 3-1 if I'm right as well, to Wolves, and fair play to Wolves this season. They've had a good season. Nuno Santos done a good job as well. They had a good window last summer as well, and the record against the big teams this season has been very impressive indeed. So essentially we have missed our chance. In tonight of getting into that top 4, of course, but we do know that Champions League football is very essential for next season as well. But he did go with 5 at the back tonight, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so you can potentially say, we're part of the bus, we played defences, and, our game plan was potentially, to hit Manchester City on the counter-attack, and, in the first half, a couple of times I saw Manchester United, hitting Manchester City on the counter-attack. Manchester City did start the game sluggish, they made a couple of mistakes and individual errors, but, they grew their way into the game, did Manchester City as well. So I don't think the performance was too bad for Manchester United in the first half, to be quite honest with you as well. De Gea, and I don't know what's going on with De Gea at the moment, and potentially for me, this is 8th season out at Manchester United, he's been a good servant to the club, but again, another mistake, from David De Gea, Sane scoring that goal, I think it did come off David De Gea's foot, again, another mistake from him. I don't know what's going on. Is it something to do with a contract issue? I do not know, because obviously Manchester United have not yet, come to an agreement, to get David De Gea a new contract as well, and he's been here about 8 years now. We do know Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. We also do know, obviously, recent reports did say that PSG would interest him. Reports a while back did say that he wants around £350,000 a week. In his current deal at the moment, De Gea is on around £200,000 a week as well. So I think he's demanded about £150,000 pay rise as well. But you could say Luke Shaw, obviously, making his return tonight, was good to see. And, Luke Shaw hasn't done much wrong, as a Manchester United player, and I do really like him. You can say he was the fault for the first goal, to be quite honest with you, but I don't think he was too good, tonight, Luke Shaw, to be quite honest with you. But I still really like him indeed. We saw Ashley Young, playing tonight as well. Ashley Young, for me, shouldn't have been playing tonight. As I did say, I didn't want Ashley Young to start, because he's making mistakes, week in, week out as well, and he's too old now. Ashley Young is past his sell-by date at the club. He was a good winner, back in the day was Ashley Young, but as I did say, it was bad business from the club, giving Ashley Young that new 1-year extension as well. But yeah, there's some positives, to take for tonight. There was, in terms of the level of performance, there was improvements, to be quite honest. The effort was there, the work ethic was there, especially in the first half as well. And I expected to lose to Manchester City, tonight, to be quite honest. They're a world-class team. They've got great players indeed. I said they've invested really well. Aguero played well for them tonight. Bernardo Silva played well. David Silva played well as well. And City, were just they just deserved the victory tonight, to be quite honest with them as well. But for me, we're not clinical enough in front of goal. We're not ruthless enough in front of goal, and this is what potentially is letting us down, to be quite honest. And you can potentially, see the deficiencies in the squad as well. We are lacking in key areas, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club this summer. Reportedly, we're going to get a spending spree of around £250 million this summer, but it is good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is emphasising his targets and all that as well. But you can see the deficiencies in the squad, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to build a squad, worthy of the club's history as well. So there is lots to sort out in the summer as well, as I said. But as I did say, I think up to at least 6 players, could be leaving Manchester United this summer. That probably includes Matteo Darmian, even though this was Darmian's first start tonight under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But for me, Darmian, is not good enough to represent Manchester United. He's enjoyed a very, very difficult time. Hasn't really been given the opportunity, to be quite honest. So I think he's on his way out of the club. I want Young to leave this summer, whether he will or not, I do not know. I want Smalling out this summer as well. Again, bad business from the club, giving Smalling a new long-term contract, because for me, he's there as a backup option. I also want Jones leaving Manchester United in the summer as well, even though he won't play tonight, because obviously, he's injured, he's Phil Jones, but I still want him out of the club in the summer, because for me, he's no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. This is now his 8th season at the club. Jones and Smalling, have been 2 long-serving players here at Manchester United, as we all know as well. As I said, this is Jones' 8th season. I think it's Jones' 8th season. This is Smalling's 9th season at the club as well. But I also think Marcos Rojo is on his way out at the club in the summer as well, because he's enjoyed a very, very difficult time as a Manchester United player. As I did currently say, we definitely know that Valencia's on his way out at the club in the summer. Definitely, he's been here 10 years now as Antonio Valencia at Manchester United, of course. Obviously, he's set to leave when his contract expires in the summer as well. So potentially one of the positions we do need to strengthen up is that right back position. We potentially do need a couple of additions in midfield. For me, Lukaku definitely got to leave Manchester United this summer. For me, he's a big game bottler against the big teams. I know he didn't start tonight, but he did come on. But for me, too slow. I've got strong reservations about him. Not reliable enough, Romelu Lukaku, to be quite honest with you. And we paid big money for Lukaku. We paid £75 million for him from Everton, a couple of years back, plus 15 million in add-ons. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. He's on £250,000 a week. He's Romelu Lukaku as well. And I think if he is to leave this summer, his preferred destination, would be Juventus. Romelu Lukaku. Juventus would be his preferred destination. Romelu Lukaku's as well. And he's got a good pedigree in the Premier League as Romelu Lukaku. But for me, I just don't, think he's good enough, to represent Manchester United as well, because he's too slow. His first touch concerns me and all that. There has been a few teams, interested in Romelu Lukaku, and I think his agent has revealed that he's open to leaving Manchester United this summer. And Sanchez has definitely got to leave the club as well. Sanchez did come on in the game, to be quite honest. For me, he's not good enough for Manchester United. Alexis Sanchez, for me, he's just not good enough for Manchester United. And currently his wages he's receiving, it's totally affecting our wage structure in a bad way, and he's sustained quite a few injuries. He has now just recently recovered from an knee injury as well, but he's no longer playing to the highest level. He doesn't have a future at the club, Alexis Sanchez. He is aging now 30. He has lost that yard of pace as well. It will be hard to find a buy for him this summer, considering his substantial wages he's on. He's obviously the highest paid player at the club. He's the highest paid player in the Premier League as well. So he's age 30 now as well. For me as well, so there's going to be quite a few players, that are going to be leaving Manchester United. It's looking like Juan Mata is also on his way out in the summer as well when his contract expires, and he's no longer playing to the highest level. Can't even get in the team now, to be quite honest with you, Juan Mata. But this is now his 5th season at Manchester United. He has made over 200 appearances for the club as Juan Mata, and I still really, really like him, to be quite honest with you, but he's no longer playing to the highest level. He has lost that yard of pace as well, indeed. So potentially, we've got to be ruthless in this summer transfer window. We've got to get our number one priority targets, to be quite honest with you as well. But Champions League football is very, very essential indeed for next season. So in that aspect, it can make us have more of a competitive summer window, and we can attract players to the highest level as well. The majority of the blame is on the players, though. To be quite honest with you, because for me, they're not playing for the shirt. They're not playing for the club as well. You can take some positive tonight, because there were some improvements. Based on our performance tonight. There were some improvements, but again, as I said, I was disappointed with Pogba tonight. Again, very, very poor indeed. Pereira didn't do much wrong. Fred didn't do much wrong. Lingard, very, very poor tonight for Manchester United as well. It was Lingard and Rashford up front, of course. Lingard, missed a fortuitous chance, but he should be scoring that, should Jesse Lingard. So his performances have been way below par. Rashford wasn't bad tonight, to be quite honest. I thought he was one of our best players in the pitch, especially in the first half. Rashford, was really, really going for it, to be quite honest with you. So he didn't do too bad tonight, Marcus Rashford, to be quite honest with you. But, there's still room for improvements, of course. And, we've missed a chance to get into that top four tonight, with, Wolves beating Arsenal as well tonight. But we've got a difficult game at the weekend against Chelsea. I think it is on Sunday, if I'm right, as well. And that's going to be a pretty difficult game indeed. It should be a game, we should potentially win, to be quite honest with you. Chelsea's, record against the big teams has been very, very disappointing this season, of course. But obviously, Chelsea are fighting for that top four as well, because they want Champions League football for next season. But they still got good players of Chelsea. Obviously, they could still possibly, win the Europa League as well. And I don't think Maurizio Sarri's done too bad. It's only his first season, with Chelsea Football Club as well. I think it's a 3-year deal. He signed. He has got like a different kind of philosophy, Maurizio Sarri at Chelsea. But his philosophy worked when he was Napoli manager as well. He obviously hasn't won any major honours, Maurizio Sarri, of course. But obviously, Chelsea do need signings in their team. I haven't heard much about that transfer ban yet. I know Chelsea appealed against the decision, but I don't know if it's going to be delayed or not as well. So it's going to be a difficult game at the weekend against Chelsea. But we've got 3 games remaining now. Every single one of them are pivotal, of course, and we've got to potentially win all of them. But Arsenal, the one tonight, definitely had said top 4 had been over. Arsenal have now lost 2 out of 2. They've lost Palace at the weekend. Lost to Wolves tonight as well. So we've had a lifeline in that aspect as well, because we lost to Everton at the weekend. We've lost tonight against Manchester City. So look at it now. I can't remember how many points are in the top 4. Is it 2 or something like that? So if Arsenal had beat Palace, Arsenal had won tonight, definitely top 4 had been over, without a shadow of a doubt, indeed. But as I did currently say, we've got to rebuild this summer. And for me, some of the blame does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because some of his tactics are questionable, don't get me wrong, but, a lot of them players, you've got to question the mentality of them players, they've got to take responsibility as well, them players as well. But don't forget, none of these squads, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his inherent 11 of Jose Mourinho's players, there's still some players here from Louis van Gaal as well, and potentially, and, he knows about the club. Solskjaer, he managed the Manchester United reserve team for a couple of years, watched some of this team in this day and age, grow and develop, and obviously, one of them was Paul Pogba, and he has built a great relationship with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but, reports said, was it a couple of weeks ago, saying that the relationship is slowly fading, between Pogba and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. And obviously, Paul Pogba, his performances have just been absolutely woeful, in the last 7 games now, at least, to be quite honest with you. And, one of his best wishes, came true when obviously, Manchester United got rid of Jose Mourinho, because obviously, the majority of these players weren't playing under him. Obviously, Paul Pogba had a bad relationship Paul Pogba had a bad relationship with Jose Mourinho as well. So, as I did currently say, we've got to get the right players there this summer. It's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, showed an interest in quite a few young upcoming talents as well. So for me, we've got to get the right players that have got the ability to elevate Manchester United in the next 2 to 3 years at least. And as I did potentially, give you guys an update on them as well. We've showed an interest in quite a few right backs as well, because we do need a replacement for Antonio Valencia. Diego Dalot didn't play tonight, but he's still in the process of developing. And when he has been given a chance, Diego Dalot, when he has played, he has been quite impressive indeed. But I think we need a cover up for Diego Dalot, and potentially, to be quite honest with you guys. To be quite honest with you, we have showed an interest in PSG's Thomas Meunier, and Thomas Meunier is a very, very good player indeed, and he has proven it in France with Paris Saint-Germain. I think he's now in his 3rd season now with Paris Saint-Germain, Thomas Meunier is. Potentially, I think he's only got 14 months left on his contract with Paris Saint-Germain as well. But, his defensive abilities are very, very good. He can score goals, he can provide. I think he's versatile as well. He is about 6'3", so he is very, very tall, which is very, very beneficial indeed. And he's aged 27 years of age, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him as Thomas Meunier. But there's been a lot of media outlets circulating saying that Manchester United have reportedly showed an interest in Thomas Meunier as well. He's actually a former Club Brugge player, he's Thomas Meunier. So do you think he'd be the right addition if he was to come to Manchester United in the summer? And I think he could be available for a reasonable figure, of course. Thomas Meunier, maybe Manchester United could get him for maybe around 20-30 million pounds or something like that as well. So we probably would identify identify him as a good replacement for Antonio Valencia as well. And potentially we do know there's been a lot of talks about Crystal Palace's Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well, one of England's youngest upcoming talents, only 21 years of age as well, and he's available for a reasonable figure. I think he's valued around £40 million as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and of course I think his defensive capabilities are very, very good, and he only broke into the Crystal Palace first team last year as well, did Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So there has been talks about him going on as well. He said Manchester United have also showed an interest in Kieran Trippier as well, but we do need someone young and ambitious on that right hand side as well. And defensively overall, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's coming, we have actually improved, to be quite honest here. But for me, we still need someone that can partner alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. And we've been interested in quite a few players, to be quite honest with you. Of course, we haven't had a world class centre back, or we haven't had a world class centre back since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand. So for me, we've got to get a world class centre back in, and we've got to get a experienced centre back in as well. Someone that can partner alongside Victor Lindelof. And as I did say, if a new centre back was to come in, this summer, of course, Eric Bailly's future, could be in serious doubt, because Eric Bailly's not even getting into the team. He still reportedly said, that he has got a head injury, Eric Bailly, at the moment as well, but he's not getting into the team, Eric Bailly, and this is his third season now at Manchester United. He's heading into his fourth season now as a Manchester United player. I still really, really like him. He has got great potential, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, we paid £30 million for him from Villarreal back in 2016, was it as well. But he could be on his way out in the summer if a new centre-back is to come in as well. So potentially there's been quite a few central defenders Man United have been interested in. Obviously, we know that the club have obviously, been long admirers of Koulibaly as well, from Napoli. And we do know Manchester United, would have to potentially, pay a world record fee, to get Koulibaly in the summer as well. I think Napoli want around at least £110 million for him if they're willing to do any business for him. But these are the players Manchester United should be targeting. Players that can play to the highest level. Koulibaly is an experienced centre back. He's 27 years of age, going on 28 as well. Manchester United had talks back in January. Obviously, we had 3 bids turned down in January for him as well. Obviously, we're heavily linked with him last summer. But he would. I think he'd blend in very, very well alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline. With Koulibaly, he has still got a contract with Napoli until 2023. Where he recently signed this new deal with Koulibaly. I think he has made over 200 appearances for Napoli, but he's grown, developed, and flourished fantastically well. When he was under Sarri, he was really, really good. Now under Ancelotti, his performances have been very, very good indeed. But he is going to take a world record fee, for us to get Koulibaly, because potentially for me, the best central defender in the league, at this moment in time is probably Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, who, of course, Liverpool paid £75 million for in January of last year as well. So he's been at Liverpool about 15-16 months, but I think he's addressed their defensive deficiencies fantastically well as well. But we need someone that can come in and address our defensive deficiencies, and Koulibaly, would be the right candidate, to be quite honest with you. But so I do think, we're going to go all out for him in the summer as well, the Senegal international. We do know potentially, we've been linked with Raphael Varane as well. There has been a lot of talks about that going on, and Raphael Varane is a really, really good player. To be quite honest with him as well. And I think if he was, to have, if he was, to come to the Premier League and come to experience English football, I think his element of performances, would be what he's been doing at Real Madrid as well. Because his performances have been very, very good for Real Madrid. This is now his 8th season with Real Madrid, as we all know as well. Raphael Varane, he has got a huge release clause in his current deal with Real Madrid. I think his release clause is about £400 million or something like that as well, and he's only 25, and it is quite remarkable what he's achieved as a Real Madrid player, Raphael Varane as well. So it's quite remarkable what he's achieved as a Real Madrid player. I think he's made nearly 300 odd appearances in all competitions for them as well. I think when he began his career in France, when he was a youngster, I think he began his career with Lens in France, the Raphael Varane. But reports did say a while back that reports were stemming from Spain saying that reportedly he's considering, leaving Real Madrid this summer. But I don't think Real Madrid are willing to let him go unless any team, of course, are willing to trigger his release clause as well. So there has been a lot of talks about Raphael Varane going on. I think a lot of Manchester United fans, would like to see him come in. But potentially, as I did currently say, these cheaper alternatives, these like the likes of Toby Alderweireld, that's a much cheaper alternative to the likes of Raphael Varane and Koulibaly. We do know that we'd like the likes of Koulibaly we would like the likes of confuse that. We'd like, players like Koulibaly and Rafael Varane, to come to Manchester United as well, but you can't get every single player in the world, and that's, just the way it works, to be quite honest with you. But for me, what we've currently got in our defensive area, I think, Toby Alderweireld, would be a good upgrade in our defence, to be quite honest with you, and he's available for a reasonable figure this summer, as you all know. He has got a 25 million release clause as Alderweireld as well. This is Alderweireld's now fifth season, I think. No, fourth season at Tottenham, should I say. He's heading into his fifth season as a Tottenham player, is Alderweireld. But I think he does want to leave Tottenham this summer, because obviously he's refused to sign a new contract with Tottenham as well as Alderweireld. He did reportedly say that Arsenal showed an interest in him. Don't get me wrong, I've got reservations about him, to be quite honest with you, Alderweireld, because obviously he's just recently turned 30. He's just recently turned 30. I've got some reservations about him, as I said, but he has lost that yard of pace as Alderweireld, but he knows the Premier League. He's well Premier League proven as well. So I think it'd be a good upgrade in our defence, with Alderweireld, to be quite honest with you as well. So he's a much cheaper alternative to the likes of the Koulibalys, the Rafael Varanes and all that. Nowhere near on the same level about, but I still think it'd be a good upgrade in our defence, with Toby Alderweireld as well. But yeah, there's a lot of players, Manchester United linked with as well, and maybe some Manchester United fans are saying now, if Paul Pogba wants to leave in the summer, let him go in the summer, to be quite honest with you. So his future is still up in the air at the moment, Paul Pogba's, Herrera, the Vascandi, could be, potentially leaving in the summer as well, but it's looking likely, to be quite honest with you, according to what reports have been saying. But for me, we do need a couple of additions in midfield, to be quite honest with you, and even though Fred has really stepped up to the plate lately, he's still kind of inexperienced, Pereira's still inexperienced as well. So for me, we do need a couple of additions in midfield, and for me, Matic isn't good enough. He's too ineffective in that midfield when he plays. He's too slow. I've got strong reservations about him as well. So we need a centre defensive mid that's fast and tenacious as well. And we do know we've been interested in the likes of Atletico Madrid's Saul Niguez. We could identify him as a replacement for Ander Herrera if Herrera is to leave the club in the summer. There's been a lot of talks about Saul Niguez going on. He plays for Atletico Madrid. He's 24 years of age. He's Spanish, as you all know. But again, he's going to cost us, quite a bit of money, if we are to get him in the summer, Saul Niguez, because I think he's got a release clause of around 128 million. He can play as a defensive mid. He can play as a central mid. He can play on the right as well. So he is versatile, is Saul Niguez, to be quite honest with you as well. And I think he did say City had also showed an interest in Saul Niguez. So, potentially we could identify him as a possible replacement for Ander Herrera. There's been also a lot of talks about Bruno Fernandes, as we all know as well. I think he's mainly an attacking midfielder, is Bruno Fernandes. He's tied up very, very well in Portugal. I think he's 24 years of age, is Bruno Fernandes. I think he's 24 years of age. Manchester United have been in negotiations with his representatives over the summer transfer. I think Man United have instructed scouts, to keep a close eye out on him, because reportedly his performances in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon have been fantastic. And I think he's been at Sporting Lisbon a couple of seasons now. I think this is his second season, if I'm right, with Sporting Lisbon. He has got a release clause of around 90 million in his deal with Sporting Lisbon as well, as Bruno Fernandes. And I think he's got a contract with them until 2023, as Bruno Fernandes as well. So he's been a potential Manchester United target. Obviously, he's a former Sampdoria underneath player, so he did have a lot of experience of playing in Italy, when he was younger as well, Bruno Fernandes. And we do know Man United have been interested in obviously, what's his name, Joe Felix as well. Got a 100 million buyout clause. He only broke into the Benfica first team last year, but Manchester United scouts have been, watching him as well, because his performances have been very, very good indeed. So do you think the likes of Bruno Fernandes or Joe Felix, would be the right solution for Manchester United? Do you think they'd be a good addition to the team? One of them, maybe not both of them, but do you think one of them, would be, any good for Manchester United as well? We do know there's been a lot of talks about, West Ham's Declan Rice as well. He's mainly defensive midfielder, is Declan Rice, and he's very, very young. He's one of England's youngest upcoming talents, is Declan Rice. I think if West Ham were willing to do any business for him this summer, they'd want about £50 million for him or something like that, Declan Rice. But he's still kind of in the process of developing, but I think this season his performances have been fantastic, under Manuel Pellegrini as Declan Rice is. So I think he's valued at around £50 million. He's been in the West Ham senior squad, a couple of years now anyway. So Manchester United have reportedly, showed an interest in him as well. And we do potentially know the club's number one priority target is obviously Jadon Sancho, of course, as well. But maybe some people are saying, we should be sensible with our with our recruitment this summer, of course, because potentially these players out there for a reasonable figure, but we do know the likes of Jadon Sancho. He's going to cost us around £100 million. Is Jadon Sancho, and that's on one player, but maybe we could get like 2 or 3 players for maybe just over £100 million as well. Maybe not potentially as good, but still maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer as well. But yeah, Jadon Sancho is going to cost us around £100 million of course as well. But I think he'd be the right solution to come to Manchester United. I think he'd link up very, very well with the likes of Rashford and Martial. In our front line. He can play between the bylines. Jadon Sancho can put crosses into the box as well. So I do really, really like him, to be quite honest with you. Borussia Dortmund, of course, have been known for doing business with their players, but he's going to cost around £100 million. If Borussia Dortmund are willing to sanction him off this summer as well. So yeah, we do know there's been a lot of talks about that going on. I think he's the club's the club's top priority is Jadon Sancho as well. So so potentially reflecting on tonight's game, I thought there was improvement in the performance, especially in the first half, and I thought we were committing men forward in the first half. To be quite honest with you, I thought Rashford was getting some decent runs in behind. To be quite honest with you, Lingard for me was very, very poor tonight. He had a fortuitous chance but missed it, and even I could have potentially scored that. To be quite honest with you. And Lingard's supposed to know what it's all about. As I said, he's 27 years of age now. He is actually highly experienced. He knows what the club's all about, Jesse Lingard. And at least in this last couple of months, just his performances have been absolutely atrocious. Indeed, Jesse Lingard. So I wasn't proud of him tonight. I thought Martial, would have started the game tonight. To be quite honest, he did come on, but he didn't start the game. Anthony Martial, and he did come on in the game. To be quite honest with you. But Fred and Pereira didn't do much wrong tonight. Pogba was poor tonight. As I said, don't think Luke Shaw had a brilliant game. You could say he was at fault for the first goal, to be quite honest with you. Lindelof for me, his performances overall have really, really improved this season for Manchester United, and I think, he had a difficult first season, did Lindelof, but I think this season he's really, really stepped up to the plate, to be quite honest with you as well. De Gea again, disappointed with him tonight. I think he had to make 2 saves in the first half, was it, if I can remember rightly. One from Bernardo Silva, obviously, that one from Sterling as well, and that was City's best chance in the first half, that one through Raheem Sterling as well. But yeah, we just got to accept, City are better than us. Obviously, it's going to take us at least a couple of years, to graduate, to Manchester City's level, of course, as well. So I think now, for me, on preference, City are going to win the league, of course. It could still. Well, I think City are going to win the league, of course. I think what are City's remaining fixtures? I don't think I've looked, to be quite honest with you. I'll have to look up that as well. But yeah, City win every game now. Obviously, if City win all these 3 games, City, of course, have won the league. But obviously, City have obviously got the experience, of course. City won the league last season, of course. They won it quite easily, last season, to be quite honest. Obviously, winning it by 19 points. Obviously, breaking records as well. Gaining 100 points last season. Obviously, scoring 106 goals, and I think they won 32 games out of 38 last season. In the league, did Manchester City as well. So it's looking likely they are going to retain the league. As I did say, the last team to regain the league was actually Manchester United back in 2009 as well. We actually won it 3 times on the trot. We won it in 07, 08 and 09 as well. So looking like that Manchester City are going to win it. As I did currently say, I would rather Manchester City, win the league, than Liverpool, of course, because obviously now we do know that Manchester City cannot win the quadruple anyway, which is good news. Indeed, they cannot win the quadruple. So I'd rather Manchester City, of course, win the league than Liverpool. And actually, City, could still potentially, win the treble. As we all know, they can still win the treble. They're in the FA Cup final, looking like they're going to win the league. So potentially, they probably are going to win the treble, to be quite honest with you. So they are going to match, one of my club's greatest achievements, from 1999, of course, when my club won the treble as well. So so City win the game by 2-0. Chelsea is on Sunday. The preview should be coming up for that. That will be on probably on Friday. I should imagine the preview for that will be coming up as well. So guys, drop your comments below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.